Hey everybody, it's Mitchell Berry back again with another episode of Define Success, where we talk to people who have found success on their terms, whether that means making $1 million or staying at home with their kids. Let's dive right in. Okay, so we've got Kandace Rogers from Columbia Title, which is our preferred title company when we have people buy real estate. They use you all, so but glad you're here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So give us a little background. How long have you been at Columbia?
So for this month, it's actually been 6.5 years.
Really?
Yeah. So I was a baby title girl.
That's
now
exciting.
I'm 6.5 years in.
Okay.
Prior to that, I did 10 years in the banking industry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So I started as a teller, and then I worked my way up to be an assistant branch manager. So I have the finance, the banking background.
Yeah.
And did a little bit in post-closing, like commercial loans on the post-closing side. But that's about it.
I had a little stint. I don't know if you knew that, at a bank where I was a teller, and I quickly realized I hated that. I didn't want to do anything with it ever again because people are psychos.
Oh, yeah.
So, because I would sit there and you'd have the sweet old lady come in that was just nice as could be, or they would just chat with you. But then you'd have someone come in and you ask for their ID or whatever, and they'd lose their mind on you. And it's
You're supposed to know me,
right? And I had people tell me that. They'd be like, you know how long I banked here? And I'm like, well, I've been working here for 6 months. You want me to give your money to someone that I don't know? But so I was like,
they don't understand. They don't get it.
I don't want to mess. Did you like banking?
I did. I loved it until they started giving us goals that were unrealistic.
Okay.
And so I just felt like I know it's a money-making business. I get that.
Sure.
But when you hinge our salaries and so forth off of unrealistic goals, you set unrealistic expectations, they're not gonna be met. And so that's what caused me to phase out.
Okay. Which makes sense. That's because we set goals for our business every year. And I've always historically set really, really big goals because it's nice to push yourself. But at some point this year, we were like, okay, we've had years of really big growth. So we have to have a year of realistic growth, because if we don't hit it, it's almost like demoralizing, because you're like, why didn't I hit it? Even though you might have had a phenomenal year.
Exactly.
So that can be frustrating.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How'd you end up at Columbia?
I saw the job post one day, and I honestly, I didn't think that I would even qualify.
Okay.
Because, it was a job post that looked real extra hard. It was well written, and I was like, oh, I'll just give it a shot, not realizing that my banking background actually helped me. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So what does the day-to-day look like at Columbia for you? And what's your title there?
So I'm a closing agent. Okay. So for me, first thing that I do when I get in is check my emails and see what agents have reached out to me, see what needs to be done. I go over the files that I currently have active to see, are the searches complete? If I need to reach out to the agents for different things, or to the clients. And of course, printing out the documentation, any paperwork that we do have for that day, getting all that stuff prepped.
Yeah. And
then just working on closings and trying to set new appointments with agents or lenders as time allows. So,
okay. Cool.
That's the gist of
it. One thing about your job that I don't think I could do is how many closings do you think you average, like a week?
A week.
And I know that varies year to year, month to month. And
not myself, but just yesterday alone, my boss, Abby, she did 20. She had a package of 20 properties. It was a package deal.
Right,
so she
still.
was, so that was just in one day. In a week, I think our office can close anywhere from like 30 to 40.
Okay.
A week.
So my thing is, you guys, a lot of the stuff's repetitive, right? Each closing is going to have the same documents. I could not do that over and over again and not sound like I was just mad at repeating the same thing. But every time we're in a closing, you sound happy and like it's just a new day. It's a new thing.
I am very particular with how my documents, the order that they're in. So before I do have a closing, I go through my packets and put them in a specific order.
Yeah.
Because to me, it helps it flow better and it makes it easier to understand for people.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though a lot of it is repetition basically, but I just try to make it a little bit, different for everybody.
Yeah.
Not sound like a machine.
Well, no, because that's what I've sat through a lot of closings now at this point with a lot of different closers at a lot of different companies. And it is important because I've sat through ones where it's just awkward or you can tell they don't know what they're talking about or whatever.
Gotcha.
And then that affects the confidence of the client, obviously, or just the experience in general. So it's nice because you guys always spot on. You got good snacks sitting out there ready to go.
We are the queens of snacks, that's for sure.
Charcuterie boards.
Yeah, Abby is the queen of the charcuterie boards, and she's our main cook. Every other week, just about twice a month, we do a meal for the agents. You don't have to have a closing there. You could just come and eat lunch on a Friday. Like tomorrow, we're doing it. So come on back.
We're gonna put that on my calendar
because
I'm gonna swing my aggressive food. Free food is my thing.
Yeah, it's there.
So, cool. So okay, so 6.5 years. What is there anything you dislike about it?
I would say if there would be any dislike, it wouldn't be about the job. It would be of the communication or lack of communication that I get from agents. Like they're just not responsive to emails or not, their voicemail's always full. You can't reach them.
Yeah.
I would think that's it just makes it harder.
Yeah.
I work to get my files to where we're not having any hiccups at the last minute. And so when you don't have an agent that's being responsive, that can hold up the progress. I don't want a closing to be postponed because of, something simple. Like not having a borrower's authorization form or, you know what I'm saying? So that would be, I think, the one thing. But other than that, I love the job as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's because real estate agents, we are a different breed. And anything organizational or like paperwork. I hate paperwork. And I'm completely unorganized when it comes to it. And so that's the importance of like surrounding yourself with people that have strengths that cover your weaknesses.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I can chit chat with people all day and shoot the breeze or whatever. But if you ask me to fill out a mortgage authorization form and get that to clients and fill out the fact sheet thing and all that goes to the bottom of the stack immediately. So that's why we've put good people around us to help with that, because I understand that can be frustrating for you. So, okay, that's interesting. So then, go back before banking. Where'd you grow up at? What's all that history? Run us through that.
So I was born actually in Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
And so I was there till about the 3rd grade, and then I moved to Maryville, Indiana. So then I went through high school in Maryville. And when it came time for college, I decided to go to Vincennes University. So I have an associate's degree in psychology from there.
Psychology? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. And then I transferred to USI and I got my bachelor's in psychology. So this was not my first idea of what I wanted to do when I grew up. I wanted to be a marriage and family counselor. Really? And so, but after I got all my student loans paid off, I said, well, I'm not going back for my master's just yet. Yeah. So but actually my degree, I think, has helped me because with our job, we are doing a lot of talking with people. Yeah. We're the last line of a transaction. And sometimes that line can be very emotional for some people. For 99% of the people that we see when they're buyers, it's their happiest time because they're buying a home.
Yeah.
Well, on the flip side, when they're sellers, it could be a divorce situation. It could be a death. And so there are a lot of emotions that you have to learn to, know how to handle.
Yeah.
I've sat at the table with grown men crying because of a divorce.
Yeah.
I've had a closing with a doctor who went through a divorce as well. And he said to me, he knew that I was married, or, we were just talking and he knew I was married. And he said, whatever you do, don't put your job before your family. Like he had that moment of, my job, I let that take precedence over my marriage. And so, like I said, you go through, you see a whole lot of emotions, whether it's on the buying or the selling side. And so having me studying people and it helped me to know how to handle people in their sensitive moments.
Wow. That's wild. Yeah. Because, we run across it too. And I think a lot of, especially real estate agents, their first instinct is to ignore it. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the phone with people and all the time it's like, well, why are you selling your house? A divorce. Mm-hmm. And so many real estate agents think that they don't want to speak about it. Maybe they don't. And they were like, oh, and they move on. Mm-hmm. Where we try and connect with them on that basis and just ask obviously that's tough. Are you doing okay through that process? Mm-hmm. And if they don't want to talk about it, that's clear. But most people will usually open up and at least some and say it's fine, this
Yeah.
blah 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 or whatever. But I think they appreciate like the real human nature of it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm assuming you guys, I haven't been in a closing where any of that's happened with you,
Right.
yeah. But I'm assuming you guys do something similar because like the
Yeah.
connection of that, like it shows, oh, they see me as a real human being,
Not just a number.
not just a number. Yeah.
You allow them to speak, say whatever they need to say, to get it off of their chest. Like I said, we deal with a lot of people who spouses have passed, and the tears that have run in our room, and you just sit there and I'm not trying to force you through this paperwork. You just learn to give people their space, let them have their moment. And then when they're ready, we can proceed. It shows you have a heart, you care. It's not just about me, but it's about them being complete in that moment. And having that moment for themselves.
But that's tough.
It is. It's very tough. But we've dealt with that a lot. I've definitely seen it a lot, and it just each time that you go through it, it makes it a little bit easier. When it happens again, you know how to respond.
Right.
And so,
Do you ever regret not pursuing the psychology more?
I know that it's not out of the books all the way for me.
Yep.
I'm only 40, so I still got time. But no, I honestly, I don't. I don't.
Right. Well, and everything happens for a reason, right?
Yes.
Like you end up where you end up, and I got my degree and then did not use it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think about sometimes the kind of steps that were taken, and like, well, this thing happened that I thought was bad at that moment, but it pushed me this direction, then ended up where I'm at now, which is a stressful life I live, but I love it, right? Yeah. And so that's really neat.
Everything happens for a reason, and I think it prepares you, like you said, for the next step. You don't know where your life is going to take you, and so you just learn from those experiences, and just whenever, if it's meant for me to go back, I'll do it. Now, with a family, I don't really have much time for that. So to go to school right now.
Right. So okay, then family life. So outside of work and your educational history and everything, what does the rest of Kandace's life look like?
So I'm married. My husband and I will be celebrating 8 years in July, 4th of July. We're 4th of July anniversary.
That's neat.
And I have a 19-year-old stepson and a 7-year-old. So
Okay.
Go figure, right? What a big age gap.
Yeah.
But so I'm full-time mommy mode as soon as I as soon as I get out. He's active, he's in sports and stuff. We try to keep him active and going, and just keeping his educational studies up for, at the top of the list. So that's the bulk of what I do when I when I leave work.
Yeah.
Just take care of him.
And then you and your husband, because you work opposite schedules.
Yes.
How does that work? Because I think I would lose my mind. I don't think I could.
So I think I have lost it a couple times, but it's come back to me.
Yeah.
Initially, when we first were married, it was difficult because I was 33 when I first got married and had a kid.
Okay.
So I'm the baby of my family. So I wasn't used to being around babies. I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have any idea what I was doing. My husband, obviously being an experienced father, he was like, "Oh, you'll be good." And then I'm like, I'm at home with this child by myself, and what do I do? But it did come naturally to me. Right. But it's where we make it work. We see each other a couple of hours, maybe an hour or so every day. Monday through Friday, that is.
Right.
If I want to have more, see him more, then I'll wake up earlier, because I wake up very early in the morning anyway when he's getting off work. But we just make it work. It works out for our school, our son's schedule, because he can pick him up, whereas I don't have to drive all the way out there to go get him.
Sure.
And take them. It just works. It works out. But on the weekends, we have each other.
Yeah.
We have that time together. So
what time do you wake up?
About 4. Without fail, I wake up very early.
Because you said you don't use an alarm clock, I think, right?
I have one, but I don't need it.
Yeah,
I just have it in case, by chance. Yeah, but I do wake up extremely early. So
have you always been that way?
I have. Yeah.
So I have not. Like I hated waking up early, and over the past few years, I don't know if it's stress or if it's just aging or what it is, but like earlier, every year it's like earlier and earlier and earlier. And then for a while there, I was doing like 5:30, which was good. It's a little bit, I've got to get to bed at a decent time. That's my problem. So Julie, my wife, is the opposite. So like when I get home, I'm like, okay, this is downtime. And she pulls out her laptop and starts doing taxes at like 9 p.m. And so then she wants to stay up till like midnight. And I'm like, it's like 8 o'clock and I'm like falling asleep in front of the TV, you know? But yeah, I think would be pushing it. I don't know that I could do 4.
And it's not, for me, I think my dad, he woke up early. And so I think it just I don't know, it just naturally that I saw him do it. It may be just naturally happen for me. But I'm like you, I have to be in bed like by 10 o'clock. Don't ask me to stay up to 10:01, 10:02. It's not going to happen. I'm in the bed and I'm out.
Yeah.
But it may be if I tried to stay up later, maybe I would sleep longer. I don't really know. But yeah. You think I go to the gym or something at 4 a.m, but I don't.
So what do you do?
Sometimes I'm reading. A lot of times I'm reading or, scrolling through Facebook, our lovely Facebook, or doing laundry, just, doing chores around the house.
Okay.
That's what what else can I do? Then my son will wake up at about 6:30 or so. So he doesn't even need an alarm clock. He wakes up early. I've spread it on to him.
That's crazy.
It is. My husband's able to, he's unique, and though he works nights on the weekends, he can flip it. And it doesn't bother him. It doesn't affect him.
Really?
Yeah, he can flip it and be a daytimer.
So has he always been on that shift since you guys got married?
Mm-hmm. Since he was on it, he worked at his previous job for 23 years. And so he worked nights.
And he likes it?
He loves it. It's just, he's used to it. But like I said, he's able to flip on the weekend and it doesn't bother him. I'm like, there's no way I could do that.
No, I couldn't either.
I would be sleeping majority of Saturday and he's not. He'll wake up at noon and be ready to go. I'm like, okay.
Now, when we visit her family in Illinois and we're driving back, if the sun goes down, I say if the sun goes down, I go down. It's bad. It's like, we got to get home before it gets dark.
Oh, yeah. Or you're driving.
Yeah. So I couldn't do that.
Gotcha.
So, okay. Well, so, we've kind of made this whole podcast around success and what people's definition of success is, because it's different for everyone. So I'm curious, have you modeled your life after someone else's that you found successful? Or have you kind of just made your own path heading down that direction? Because I know a lot of people, they kind of have like a role model or an idol that they're like, that to me is success and I want that. But then there are some people that make their own whole new path. So was there anyone in your life, near or far, that you kind of have tried to model after?
So to me, I think success is an ever evolving thing. It's not just one particular moment. So for me, success is having the balance of my work life and my family life and my, my personal life.
Yeah.
As far as me having someone that I wanted to model, I just think that it's just me having a balance and finding a balance and being successful at work and then being successful as a wife, being successful as a mom.
Right.
That to me is what success is. So I haven't really modeled that with anybody, seen anyone that modeled that, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. No, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, that's what, like, some people, I don't know, like, so I was watching, do you ever watch Netflix?
Yes.
Okay. So they came out with that documentary, Full Swing. It's about golfers.
Okay. No, I haven't seen that.
Okay. Watch it.
Okay.
A ton of people that I know who are not golfers, who do not like the game of golf, have watched it and have loved it, because it's more about like the people rather than the game. But a lot of them have been like Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was the person they modeled. Excuse me. They modeled their game after, or they wanted to be.
Okay.
But then there are other people like Tony Finau on there. I think he probably still modeled kind of what he wanted to be after someone, but he was one that was kind of completely set apart from all of them, because his family was so important to him. You really need to watch it. You would love it.
Okay.
But he's got, I think, like 5 kids and a wife, and he had lost, I think, his mother, and then his wife had just recently lost a parent, and so he was taking his wife and his 5 kids to all these tournaments with him.
Just dragging them around with him everywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, they loved it, but everyone kind of judged him for it, and they were like, at some point, you've got to put the game slightly ahead of your family if you want to be the best. And his mentality of that was different. Okay. And everyone judged him. And then he ends up and wins, like, I think 2 tournaments back to back and makes like $3 million, you know what I mean? So, but to him, it was kind of like he chose his own path and did something different than everyone else did. And it clearly worked out for him, and it seems to have a great relationship with his kids and his family, and know. So not everyone has that person, and there's nothing wrong with that for sure. So, do you feel like you found success in that? So, like, really, you said it's mainly balance for you between work and family. Like, that's success. Do you feel like you've done a good job with that?
I've been done okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I can always be better. I can always be a better mom. With being a parent, you can sit back at times and like, oh, I could have handled that differently.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be so hard on them.
Right.
With my job, I've definitely found success there. I can do better.
Yeah.
Just finding different, even better ways to connect with agents or lenders.
Yeah.
So I haven't found it completely for myself, but I definitely am striving.
Yeah. Well, you said it's ever changing,
mm-hmm.
right? And that's another thing. Tony Finau, I think he made this quote that was, winners are just losers who didn't give up.
There you go.
Because you lose, and in this situation, like, you're going to miss the mark over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And the second you totally give up,
it's
over.
Yeah.
But as long as you keep striving for it,
there you go.
Eventually you win. You'll hit the mark at least a few times, right?
There you go.
Because none of us are ever perfect with it.
I think something really big that I personally try to follow is not to follow other people, not to envy other people.
Yeah.
It's one thing to admire someone. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because there's a lot of people that that you can look up to, like, oh, they're really nice, they're this, they're that. But I think when we focus too much on what other people think, such as him, if he would have focused on what the other people were saying, who's to say that he would have had the success that he had?
Right.
But like you said, he had to focus on his self and what his family's goals were.
Mm-hmm.
And though it was so different from what everybody else was telling him to do, he yet maintained and stayed true to himself.
Yeah.
And so I try to do that for myself. Just say it's okay to celebrate other people. It's okay to, to admire something about them. But I really try to stay true to me and just be myself.
Yeah. Which is what you should do.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, we'll wrap it up. But if anyone has questions about title, or they want to send you and Columbia Title business or anything, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
They can give me a call, 812-471-8563, or shoot me an email, Kandace with a K at ColumbiaTitleGroup.com.
Kandace with a K. I like it. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
See ya.
Bye.